Welcome to the 2024 General Election Meet the Candidate Forum. My name is Lindsay Allen, and I am joined by Naomi Boutz. We will be your moderators for the 2024 Meet the Candidate series. This year's forum is sponsored by the Hagedon Media Group, Quicksilver Studios, and the Joint Public Policy Committee of the Coeur d'Alene Regional, Hayden, Post Falls, and Rathdrum Chambers of Commerce, in partnership with the Coeur d'Alene and Post Falls Press. This forum is intended to allow you, the voter, to hear from the candidates representing various Idaho State legislative and Kootenai County positions, who will share their vision and policies to help inform your vote. Candidates will be given 1 minute to introduce themselves, then asked 3 questions with 2 minutes to respond to each question. Candidates will be allowed 1 minute for their closing statements. These forums provide a unique opportunity to connect with the candidate who seek to serve our community. By meeting our candidates one-on-one in a more casual environment, we aim to better inform Kootenai County voters about each candidate's point of view.
Next up, we have state representative candidates for District 4, Seat B. We're going to start with Paula Marano, and we're going to let you do a 1-minute introduction.
Thank you, Naomi. Thank you to the Coeur d'Alene Regional Chamber as well as the Coeur d'Alene Press for sponsoring this candidate interview. It's a great opportunity for our constituency to hear the candidates as well as the opportunity for some transparency. And also thank you to the listeners, your civic engagement as well. Who am I? I am Paula Marano. I am seeking election for the office of Idaho House Representative, and that is District 4, Seat B. This particular area represents Coeur d'Alene, Fernand Village, as well as some of Mullen Trail out in that area. This is an opportunity to serve and represent the people in District 4. I was born and raised in Dayton, Ohio. I was married for 52 years, and I have the great opportunity now to represent, follow in the footsteps to serve the people in Idaho as well as District 4. I look forward to representing some pillars that represent education as well as jobs and security, safety, those types of things that help bring community together. Thank you.
Thank you. First question, what are the key challenges facing District 4, and how would you address them through legislative action? You have 2 minutes.
Some of those challenges facing District 4, those are the pillars that I think I was starting to address, have to do with education, public education. I'm well aware of some of the challenges we'll be facing, different philosophies that focus on, for some, vouchers as well as fully funding public education as it's stated in the Constitution, Idaho's Constitution. And in addition, the safety and security, civility. I've been knocking on doors. People are sharing with me some of their top concerns, and it does have to do how we treat one another and civilly talk to one another. In addition, the few other concerns would focus on the libraries, our school, not just the school libraries, but the recent legislation that was passed that compromises some or those individual rights that for people that would like to read some books, have their children reading books that are public school, as well as our public libraries have been compromised in that fashion. So I think that's a concern for a lot of people in our community. In addition, I think there was the child care program that was recently compromised. That is a concern for some of the folks in Idaho as far as our families and how they, for daycare, and especially those that have challenges with jobs and security and how their children are going to be cared for.
Okay, thank you. Legislators often receive input from advocacy groups and organizations in addition to your constituents. How will you balance these perspectives when supporting or opening legislation, and what steps will you take to ensure transparency to your constituents?
Good question. It's always wonderful to be endorsed and to have the support of different groups. However, I feel it's really important, just as important, to be able to listen to all groups. And in serving the people of Idaho, I think that's where the committees come into play. When you're serving on a particular legislative committee, say the Health and Welfare, the Education Committee, the State Affairs, so be it. There's an opportunity for testimony. And so those different groups that come in, whether it be the lobbyist, whether it be the public, the everyday person, the ordinary person, the people whose doors I knocked on, they are the ones that I think we have a responsibility to listen to and hear what they have to say. Part of a democracy, of representative government, is giving that opportunity to everyone. And then we have to make the tough decisions. And that's where we sit at the table, move into our caucus, as well as move in coming to make a decision and how we better work together with that.
Thank you. Last question. If Proposition 1 passes, will you support it or will you vote to repeal it?
Proposition 1, repeal or vote for it. Again, I think if the vote went to the people and they voted for it, I would adhere to the people's voice and follow through. The reason for the initiative is not just this initiative, but initiatives are that the people have put something on the ballot, and I think in a respectful way we have a right to listen to the voice of the people.
Okay, thank you. And now we're made it to your closing statement. So you have 1 minute to give your closing statement.
Well, again, thank you for this opportunity to meet with the people here in District 4, throughout Kootenai County. My background is vast as far as since living here for almost 48 years. That I have served in a variety of ways, and there's two ways to serve. You can serve the nonprofits, you can serve charitable organizations, but then also being able to serve government and help shape policy. The focus of my campaign, of the People's Campaign, does focus on building community together. And in doing that, I aim to support what the Constitution says, what our government legislative promise is to serve the people of Idaho. Doing that, I think it's important when families and neighborhoods, the jobs and the different environments and in education are connected and how we can better work together. So in doing that, the values of respect, of dignity and trust, as well as the belief in having hope in one another, can help strengthen not just Coeur d'Alene, Kootenai County, but all of Idaho. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. up, we have State Representative District 4, Seat B, candidate and incumbent, Elaine Price. Welcome, Elaine. Why don't you start off by giving us a 1-minute introduction?
First of all, thank you for having me and thank you for doing this. I think it's a great opportunity to get in front of the constituents. Like she said, my name is Elaine Price. I am the current state representative for District 4, Seat B. I am married. I have 4 children, 1 grandchild, and 1 on the way. I've lived in Coeur d'Alene for roughly 34 years. That has gone by way too fast. And my husband and I own a small business here in Coeur d'Alene. I think I have represented North Idaho very well in the last 2 years that I've been here, and I look forward to continuing that when I am reelected.
Thank you. As incumbent, what do you see the key challenges facing District 4, and how would you address them through legislative action?
I think one of the big things down in Boise is a lot different than North Idaho. So North Idaho values are not really represented down in Boise. So as the incumbent, that is something that I'm going to continue to focus on to make sure that North Idaho is represented well. I did pass some legislation in conjunction with City Council member Kiki Miller last year. She came to me with an issue, and we were able to get some legislation passed. So if anything like that pops up again, I'm more than willing to do that to make sure that our area is taken care of.
Legislators often receive input from advocacy groups and organizations in addition to your constituents. How will you balance these perspectives when supporting or opposing legislation, and what steps will you take to ensure transparency to your constituents?
I feel that I am easily accessible to my constituents, and my principles are grounded in North Idaho values. And what that means to me is supporting freedoms and the Constitution and restraining the overreach of government. That's what I feel North Idaho represents the most. And so groups can come to me and talk to me, but my principles stand firm. And I think that I proved that in the last legislative session. And so having them grounded in what I consider North Idaho values helps me represent the people better. And I appreciate the input of different groups, but I said it pretty clear the first session that this is where I stand on these things, and I'm not going to compromise.
Okay, thank you. Last question. If Proposition 1 passes, will you support it or will you vote to repeal it?
Very interesting question, and I was doing some research on it coming into this interview, and open primaries were deemed unconstitutional in a court case in 2011, I believe, is when the verdict was rendered. So I will have a hard time supporting something that's been deemed unconstitutional. Political parties have a freedom to affiliate. And so Prop 1 is based on open primaries, and that was specifically deemed unconstitutional in this court case. So, and then ranked choice voting, we passed legislation this last session to ban ranked choice voting as well. So, I do not support it. I hope it does not pass, and we'll have to deal with it when it comes, because my understanding is there's a good chance that it's going to be litigated if it does pass. So,
okay, thank you. And now we're to your closing statement. So you have 1 minute.
just again, thank you for doing this. Thank you for allowing me to get in front of the constituents again. And I just want everybody to know that I would like them to reach out to me if they have questions or concern. They can find me at Elaine for CDA.com, and they can email me at ElaineLD4R@protonmail.com. So again, thank you, and I hope you have a great night.
Yeah, thanks for being here. On behalf of the Joint Public Policy Committees representing the Coeur d'Alene Regional, Hayden, and Post Falls and Rathdrum Chambers of Commerce, in partnership with the Hagadon Media Group and Coeur d'Alene Post Falls Press, Lindsay and I thank all candidates for participating. I would also like to thank the production team members at the Quicksilver Studios, the Hagadon Media Group, and the Coeur d'Alene Press. And of course, thank you to those who have taken the time to learn more about each of the candidates featured in this year's Meet the Candidate series. This series has made it possible to hear from 23 Kootenai County local race candidates. We sincerely thank candidates who took the time to discuss what is important to voters in Kootenai County. We hope this town hall forum has helped inform those still uncertain about whom they will cast a final ballot for in the coming weeks. Please remember to vote. It's one of the most significant rights and responsibilities as Americans. The fundamental message this year is cast informed votes. Thank you.